I paid $8,000 to keep their home warm, but Dad banned me from Thanksgiving. When I canceled their heat, a shocking truth emerged. I am Sarah Mitchell, a 26-year-old logistics coordinator living in a modest apartment on the outskirts of Minneapolis, where winters plummet to 0 degrees Fahrenheit and summers reach 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Each morning, I brew strong coffee, review shipping schedules at my desk, and drive 8 miles to my distribution center job, managing freight routes with precision. My career, built on a degree from the University of Minnesota, is my pride, earned through long shifts and relentless focus. But my family never valued it. To them, I'm the invisible fixer, dressed in plain sweaters with no flair, always bailing them out. My older sister, Claire, 3 years my senior, is their cherished princess, indulged despite her reckless spending and failed ventures. Growing up in our family's 2-story home, 12 miles from downtown Minneapolis, I learned early that love was unevenly distributed. Claire, with her vibrant charm and endless excuses, was the star of every family gathering. At Thanksgiving, relatives flocked to her, exclaiming, "Claire, your podcast sounds amazing," or "that candle business. So creative." Her laughter filled the dining room, her presence a magnet for adoration. Me? I was a shadow in family photos, barely noticed. If anyone mentioned me, it was a vague, "Sarah's good with schedules," as if my achievements were trivial. I believed if I worked hard, stayed quiet, and carried their burdens, my parents, David and Patricia Mitchell, would one day see me with the same pride they showered on Claire. But their eyes were fixed on her, their praise reserved for her every flop. The disparity was stark. I recall one Christmas at 15, seated at our oak table, the air rich with ham and Patricia's apple pie. Claire, then 18, unwrapped a $500 camera for her vlog, her squeals echoing as relatives clapped. David handed her a $200 gift card, saying, "You're our star, Claire." My gift? A $20 planner with a note, "For Sarah, stay organized." Patricia smiled, "You're so practical, Sarah. You don't need much." I nodded, throat tight, and retreated to my room, the sting of being an afterthought cutting deep. That was the pattern. Claire's failures were excused, my successes expected. Family gatherings deepened the divide. Claire's high school graduation, held in our backyard 5 miles from town, was a spectacle: catered salmon, a live band, a banner proclaiming Claire's future. Her 25th birthday brought a weekend trip to Duluth, 150 miles away, with lakefront dinners and a rented cabin. My milestones? Quiet dinners with store-bought cake, maybe a good job, Sarah, if I pressed. When I earned my degree, Patricia said, "Couldn't you work closer?" Claire needs the car. My first job at the distribution center? David nodded, "That's far. Drive us to appointments." No pride, just demands. I told myself it was fine. In America, we're taught family means sacrifice, showing up even when it's tough. I believed if I gave enough time, money, heart, they'd see me beyond the responsible daughter. I was proud of managing $500,000 in freight contracts, valuing self-respect earned through late nights and flawless logistics. But my family didn't care. They never asked about the routes I optimized, the promotions I earned, or the thrill of streamlining operations. When I mentioned my job, David grunted, "Sounds tiring," before gushing over Claire's latest venture. The imbalance wasn't just emotional, it was financial. At 18, I worked at a bakery, walking 3 miles to stack trays, saving for college. Claire, at 21, got a $2,000 loan from Patricia for a fashion project that flopped. For 2 years, I supported their home, $8,000 total, $2,400 in 2023 and $4,800 in 2024 for heating bills, $1,200 for furnace repairs, $400 for oil. They never asked if I could afford it, just said, "Claire's struggling. Can you help?" I did, quietly, thinking it was temporary. At family dinners, Claire's creative flops dominated, her podcast praised. If I spoke, the conversation shifted, my words fading. Claire teased, "Sarah's the serious one," and Patricia laughed, but their dismissal masked a truth: I was invisible unless they needed cash. The deepest wound came last winter, during a 10 degrees Fahrenheit storm, 12 miles from home. Claire had squandered $16,000 on her candle business, and I paid $1,200 to fix the furnace. I showed Patricia my promotion, hoping for a nod. She sighed, "That's nice, Sarah," before praising Claire's ambition. I pressed, "What about me?" Her eyes were distant. "You're fine, Sarah. Claire needs us." That moment shattered my hope. I wasn't their daughter like Claire was. I was the one they called when pipes froze, ignored when love was shared. In America, family should be a haven, but mine was a one-way street. I hoped 4 were proud of Sarah, but that hope was a heavy chain I carried too long. The November chill seeped through the cracked windows of my Minneapolis apartment, 12 miles from my parents' home, as I sat clutching a warm teacup, flipping through a thrift shop magazine. The 30 degrees Fahrenheit air outside hung heavy with impending snow, the gray sky brooding. My phone's abrupt ring shattered the stillness, David's name flashing, my father. I pressed speaker, bracing for the worst. "Sarah, you don't need to come home for Thanksgiving," he said, his tone light, like he was rescheduling a coffee run. I froze, certain I'd misheard. "What?" He pressed on, unruffled, "It's better if you stay put. 4-piece. Claire's been on edge, you know." I set the teacup down, its clink against the wooden table sharp in the quiet. Claire, my sister, the family's untouchable princess, her every whim a priority. "So, I'm not invited because Claire's tense?" I asked, voice steady but throat tightening. David sighed, his familiar dismissal, "It's just one day, Sarah. You'll be fine." I stood, chair creaking beneath me. "Just one day?" I echoed, voice cold as the frost coating the porch. "After I've sent $8,000, $800 for heating this year, $2,400 last year, $1,200 for furnace repairs, $400 for oil, to keep your house from freezing?" Silence stretched across the 12 miles, the phone line humming with unspoken tension. "Don't bring money into this," he said, voice tinged with unease. "You offered." I laughed, a dry, hollow sound reverberating in my sparse apartment. "Offered?" "In January, when you called at midnight, house at 40 degrees Fahrenheit, who wired $2,400? Me. In March, when Mom sobbed about the furnace clanking, who paid $1,200 to fix it? Me. In September, when Claire blew $16,000 on her podcast, who covered the oil for $400? Still me." He didn't counter, falling back to his worn excuse, "Family is family, Sarah. Claire needs calm. She's been through a lot." I stared at the fogged window, snowflakes drifting down. "I've been through a lot, but I'm never prioritized." His tone hardened, impatient, "Don't make this awkward. It's not personal." I gripped the table's edge, breath even, words cutting, "Then don't expect another cent. If I'm not family, don't treat me like an ATM." I hung up, the screen darkening, my pulse racing. The 30 degrees Fahrenheit snow fell silently, mirroring the hush in my room. I sank onto the bed, David's words looping in my mind. They'd banned me from Thanksgiving, as casually as canceling a chore, choosing Claire's peace over my $8,000 sacrifice. I glanced at a 2019 Thanksgiving photo of me, David, Patricia, smiling over roast chicken. That warmth was a faded memory, replaced by a bitter truth: I was expendable. I opened my laptop, the wind howling outside, a 25 degrees Fahrenheit gust rattling the window frame. I logged into the utility account I'd set up last winter, when Patricia wept about the cold, unable to afford heating oil. I'd paid $2,400 in 2023, $4,800 in 2024, $1,200 for repairs, $400 for oil, $8,000 total, not because they demanded, but because I believed family came first. I thought supporting them through Minnesota's brutal winters was unconditional, until I became the spare part. My Excel file tracked every transfer, $400 10 months ago, sent to ease their fears. Did they recall? Doubtful. Claire, meanwhile, squandered $16,000 on her candle business, buying 1,000 mass-produced candles, labeling them handmade, and failing to sell. Patricia and David shrugged, "She's young." I'd sent $4,800 while Claire posted Instagram shots of $7 lattes, my back aching from 10-hour shifts. I hovered over the cancel service button. One click would halt payments before Thanksgiving, 4 weeks away. I paused, not from doubt, but to recall when I felt valued by them. I remembered family dinners, 5 miles from home, where Claire's failed ventures were lauded, my contracts ignored. I clicked. The notification flashed, "Service ends November 2nd, 2024. I shut the laptop, snow falling outside, each flake as fleeting as David's words. They'd notice, Patricia's chilled hands, Claire's complaints, David's frustration, but not yet. Claire would assume her needs trumped all, Patricia would dodge the cold, David would fume, unable to deny he'd pushed me out. In America, family is about love and fairness, but mine saw me as a resource. I'd valued self-respect, forged through 60-hour weeks and perfect logistics, but they valued Claire's creativity. David's call wasn't personal, but my response was. I'd given $8,000, skipped meals, endured pain, believing it would earn their pride. Their dismissal, "It's just one day," proved I was valued only for what I paid. As snow blanketed Minneapolis, I knew I'd done more than cancel heat. I'd canceled a role I'd outgrown, stepping into a life where I wasn't the one left in the cold. The snow drifted outside my Minneapolis apartment, 12 miles from my parents' home, as I sat by my laptop, the utility account I'd canceled glowing on the screen. The 25 degrees Fahrenheit air bit sharply, but a deeper chill settled in my chest after David's call barring me from Thanksgiving to keep Claire calm. I'd poured $8,000 into their home, $4,800 for heating in 2024, $2,400 in 2023, $1,200 for furnace repairs, $400 for oil. Yet they'd cast me aside, valuing Claire's comfort over my sacrifice. Their messages, "It's 50 degrees Fahrenheit, help, you're selfish," flooded in after I cut their heat, but the betrayal ran deeper. They'd treated me as an ATM, not a daughter, their love reserved for Claire's reckless failures. I'd been the Mitchell family's anchor, keeping their home warm through brutal winters. For 2 years, I'd sent $8,000, working 10-hour shifts to pay their bills, forgoing dreams to fix their furnace. Each payment was a silent plea for their love, a belief my $500,000 freight contracts would earn their pride. But David's "it's just one day" and Patricia's silence as I was excluded revealed a harsh truth: I was a tool, not family. The pain wasn't new, it was a wound reopened, raw and searing, from years of being unseen beside Claire's indulged mistakes. Claire squandered $16,000 on her candle business, yet Patricia excused her, "she's young." I'd sent $4,800 while Claire flaunted $7 lattes, my back aching from labor. The deepest wound came from their dismissal of my contributions. Patricia's "it's 40 degrees Fahrenheit, do something" ignored the $8,000 I'd paid, offering only demands. David's "don't bring money into this" framed my sacrifice as obligation, not love. Claire's childish text mocked my stand, as if her $200 coats weren't funded by my toil. They'd never asked, "Sarah, are you okay?" They called when pipes froze, when Claire needed bailing out, when oil ran dry. But when I needed them, when I craved a place at Thanksgiving, they chose her. The betrayal wasn't just exclusion, it was the realization I'd been a resource, valued only when Claire's ambition faltered. In America, family is a sanctuary where effort meets love. I'd held to that, valuing self-respect through late nights and flawless logistics, believing my sacrifices would count. But I was wrong. I'd given $8,000, walked 3 miles in 0 degrees Fahrenheit snow to work, poured my heart into a career, and they'd never said, "we're proud." Their messages, "you're punishing us," twisted my role as fixer into cruelty. I'd skipped meals, worked through pain, yet they demanded more, offering no thanks. The wound was a void, eroding the hope I'd held for their love. I recalled every moment Claire was exalted, her failed podcast a bold move, her $16,000 loss a learning curve, while my degree was met with, "work closer for Claire." At dinners, 5 miles from home, relatives lauded her vlogs while my contracts got, "that's nice." I'd given $8,000, my youth, my dreams, and never heard gratitude untied to another ask. As I sat in my 65 degrees Fahrenheit apartment, snow piling outside, their betrayal solidified. They'd taken my money, my heart, and excluded me from their table. The pain wasn't just a cold house, it was losing the illusion I'd ever been their daughter. The Minneapolis snowstorm howled outside my apartment, 12 miles from my parents' home, as I sat by the window, a blanket over my shoulders. The 20 degrees Fahrenheit wind battered the panes, but a colder truth lingered from David's call barring me from Thanksgiving to keep Claire calm. I'd paid $8,000 to warm their house, $4,800 for heating in 2024, $2,400 in 2023, $1,200 for furnace repairs, $400 for oil. Yet they'd dismissed me, prioritizing Claire's comfort. Their messages, "it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit, you're selfish," piled up after I canceled their heating service on November 2, 2024. The betrayal of their silence, choosing Claire over my sacrifice, drove me to a turning point. On Thanksgiving morning, as the 15 degrees Fahrenheit cold gripped the city, I set a boundary, choosing my worth over their demands. I'd ignored their pleas, Patricia's "help, it's freezing," Claire's childish, David's call back, letting their calls stack unanswered. The heating company confirmed the cancellation, no payments renewed under my name. I'd given $8,000, my heart, believing family was unconditional, but their exclusion proved I was only their ATM. On November 23, David's text, "prove your family," stung, but I stood firm, sipping coffee in my warm apartment. The doorbell's sharp ring pierced the quiet. Through the peephole, I saw David, bundled in a gray coat, snow dusting his shoulders, his face etched with expectation, not regret. I opened the door a crack, warm air spilling into the 15 degrees Fahrenheit chill. "Sarah," he said, breath clouding, "we need to talk." I leaned against the frame, hand on the knob. "Not today." He frowned, "you cut the heat." The house is 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Your mom's sick, Claire's locked upstairs. I held his gaze, unwavering. I didn't cut it. I stopped paying. That's different. He flinched, the contract was in your name. When you cancelled, we weren't notified. It's chaos. I nodded. I paid $8,000, $4,800 for heat, $1,200 for repairs, for 2 years. Then you banned me from Thanksgiving for Claire's piece. So, handle it. His eyes narrowed. You're punishing us over one call. It's a misunderstanding. Claire's had a rough year. I sighed. Claire's rough years are her choices. I stayed silent when she blew $16,000 on candles, when she borrowed and vanished. But when you excluded me for her stress, that was enough. He shook his head, voice low. We're broke, Sarah. We sold everything. Your mom's feverish. We can't take this cold. I stood firm, my apartment's glow behind me. You told me to stay back for peace. I did. I've found mine. He gripped his hood. You're hurting the whole family over one sentence. I opened the door wider, revealing my cozy space, lit kitchen, humming heater. It's not punishment, I said, voice soft but resolute. It's letting you feel the cost of pushing me aside when I'm not needed. He stared, then turned, footsteps crunching in the snow. I locked the door, the click final, and poured fresh coffee, my resolve unshaken. Their betrayal, $8,000 ignored, Claire's comfort over my place, had drawn a line. I wasn't their fixer anymore. I powered off my phone, the silence sweeter than duty. Patricia's your dad's coughing and Claire's pretend you're not family fated, their guilt trips powerless. I'd given $8,000, worked 60-hour weeks, sacrificed dreams, believing it would earn love. Their exclusion and demands, it's not about money, showed I was a tool, not a daughter. In America, family is about love and fairness, but mine valued Claire's flops over my effort. David's visit wasn't an apology, it was a final demand. My stand, canceling heat, refusing to yield, wasn't vengeance but liberation, a boundary forged in the 15 degrees Fahrenheit cold, ensuring I'd never shiver for their choices again. The Minneapolis snow fell heavily outside my apartment, 12 miles from my parents' foreclosed home, as I sipped ginger tea, the 65 degrees Fahrenheit warmth enveloping me. My decision to cancel their heating service after David's Thanksgiving ban for Claire's piece unleashed chaos. I'd paid $8,000 to keep their house livable, $4,800 for heating in 2024, $2,400 in 2023, $1,200 for repairs, $400 for oil, but their betrayal, dismissing my sacrifice, led me to halt all support. My stand, unmoved by David's doorstep plea, left the Mitchell family in ruin. As winter deepened to 10 degrees Fahrenheit, their world collapsed, and I felt no compulsion to rescue them. Their downfall came quickly. Patricia's desperate texts, it's 40 degrees Fahrenheit, help, stopped, her silence stark after my refusal. David's calls, prove your family, ceased, his pride crushed by reality. Claire's bitter childish posts vanished, her social media muted. Neighbors, 5 miles from downtown, gossiped about their frigid house, relatives withdrew, and Minneapolis's close-knit community, once charmed by Claire's creativity, condemned their neglect. Rachel Turner, my cousin, called, Sarah, it's dire. Claire's gone, Patricia's ill, David's selling heirlooms. I nodded, unsurprised. The family that sidelined me faced the price of their choices. The house, a $300,000 haven I'd sustained, became their downfall. Without my $4,800, the heat failed, pipes froze. Listings emerged, for 22, Elm Street, $250,000, urgent. Rachel texted, no buyers. Roofs leaking, furnace broken. The $1,200 I'd paid for repairs, $400 for oil, wasted, neglected by Claire's inaction. The home, once vibrant with Thanksgiving feasts and Duluth trips 150 miles away, stood cold, a reflection of their favoritism, abandoned, decaying, with no one to mend it. Claire faced the harshest fallout. Her podcast and candle ventures, draining $16,000 in family savings, collapsed, her Instagram brunches replaced by couch surfing in Eden Prairie. Rachel said, she's broke, drifting. I sipped my tea, unmoved. Claire, who'd taken support while I sent $8,000, learned the instability she glided through, her charm fading in the 10 degrees Fahrenheit cold. Patricia and David suffered most. Patricia, battling pneumonia, moved to a cheap motel near Highway 52, its thin walls no shield against winter. David sold his father's watch collection, a family heirloom, for fleeting oil, lasting days. Rachel noted, they're shattered, selling all they have. Family traditions, Christmas dinners, summer escapes, vanished. Relatives, who'd lauded Claire's flops, stopped visiting, their silence louder than past cheers. My Uncle James, 20 miles away in St. Paul, texted, "Sarah, they're a wreck. You exposed them." I replied, "They exposed themselves. I showed the truth." His silence mirrored their ruin. Claire's final post, blaming me, gained no traction, drowned by my $8,000 truth. Patricia's call, "We've lost everything," went unanswered. I'd given $8,000, endured pain, sacrificed dreams, and they'd banned me for Claire's whims. Their pleas couldn't erase their neglect. The fallout wasn't just physical, it was social. Patricia and David, blind to Claire's failures, grappled with enabling her. David's plea, "We're broke," was too late, overshadowed by years of "Claire needs us." Claire, their star, faced Minneapolis's scorn, her ventures ridiculed. They blamed me, their anger a shield, but I didn't bear it. I'd given $8,000, my time, my heart, and they'd excluded me. Now, they learned family ties break when built on exploitation. As their house remained unsold, I felt release, not guilt. I'd ceased being their savior, and the freedom warmed me more than any fire. Winter's icy hold tightened on Minneapolis, the 0 degrees Fahrenheit snow blanketing my apartment, 12 miles from my parents' foreclosed home, as I sat knitting a scarf by a glowing heater. 6 months after David banned me from Thanksgiving for Claire's peace, their betrayal, ignoring my $8,000 in payments, $4,800 for heating, $1,200 for repairs, faded. I'd cancelled their heat, ignored their pleas, "It's 40 degrees Fahrenheit, you're cruel," and stood firm against David's doorstep demand, refusing to be their ATM. Their world collapsed. Foreclosure, Claire's wandering, Patricia's illness, but in my 65 degrees Fahrenheit haven, I found peace, choosing myself over a family that never chose me. I embraced my routine, the apartment's warmth cradling me as I reviewed freight schedules. My job, 8 miles away, flourished, my $500,000 contract's a testament to grit. I'd spent years as their fixer, $8,000 for their home, $400 for oil, $1,500 for bills, but their exclusion liberated me. That betrayal, David's stay put, forged a boundary, opening a life where I mattered. I redirected the $4,800 I'd sent to savings, booking a summer trip to Lake Superior, 150 miles away, where 70 degrees Fahrenheit waves would inspire my sketching. I joined a knitting group 3 miles away, crafting with strangers who became friends. I bought a $1,200 laptop, a dream deferred for their bills, its glow a rebellion against $20 planners I'd accepted as a teen. My phone stayed silent, no more sobs from Patricia, rants from Claire, or demands from David. The silence was freedom. I'd believed family was sacred, but mine proved otherwise. True family is respect, not blood. I found it in new places. Rachel Turner, my cousin, invited me to her family's barbecue 10 miles away, where her dad toasted my resilience. Mrs. Ellen Hayes, a neighbor, shared her blueberry pie, urging me to join her book club. These bonds, built on care, filled the void my family left. Work became my sanctuary. I secured a $750,000 logistics deal, my routes optimizing global chains. I mentored teens at a community center, their drive echoing mine. My blog on escaping toxic ties grew, readers writing, "You gave me courage." I was healing others and myself. The Mitchells' world shattered. Their $300,000 house, unsold at $250,000, was lost, its broken furnace, once my $1,200 fix, a relic. Claire drifted, her ventures dead, Rachel noting, "She's lost." Patricia, in a motel, fought pneumonia, David sold heirlooms, his pride gone. Family traditions, Thanksgiving feasts, Duluth trips 150 miles away, ended, their home a memory. Patricia's snowy apology, "I was wrong," came too late. I stored her words, unheeded, with old photos, not from anger but clarity. I didn't hate them, I lacked strength to sacrifice without value. Claire's post, abandoned by family, faded, ignored. I'd given $8,000, endured exhaustion, and they'd excluded me. Their consequences weren't my fault, they'd chosen Claire's flops over my effort. Rachel texted, "They're gone, Sarah. House sold." I nodded, the house a shed burden. I joined a hiking group 10 miles away, laughter over trails forging kin. I volunteered at a financial literacy program, protecting others from my family's traps. In spring, I stood in Minnehaha Park, 5 miles away, sketching a child's kite chase. I wasn't the girl who walked 3 miles in snow while Claire got cameras. I was Sarah Mitchell, who learned true family lifts you up, not drains you. Their betrayal, $8,000 dismissed, set me free. I lived for myself, and that was enough. As Sarah Mitchell, I poured $8,000 into my family's home, $4,800 for heating, $1,200 for repairs, believing it would earn their love, only to be banned from Thanksgiving by my father, David, to keep my sister Claire calm. Their betrayal, ignoring my sacrifices while indulging Claire's $16,000 failures, showed I was just their ATM, not a daughter. For 26 years, I was the invisible fixer, my $500,000 career dismissed as Claire's flops were praised. Cutting their heat and walking away, I learned family isn't blood, it's respect. There please, it's 40 degrees Fahrenheit, you're cruel, tried to guilt me, but I found peace in my warm Minneapolis apartment, surrounded by true friends. To you, Americans who cherish family, don't let duty blind you to exploitation. If your family values your wallet over your worth, set boundaries. Your value isn't their approval, it's your strength. Don't repeat my years of giving to those who take without gratitude. Say no when it's unjust, it's not betrayal, it's survival. Build a circle that celebrates your wins, friends, mentors, chosen kin. Perseverance isn't carrying others' burdens, it's walking toward those who uplift you. I wasted time chasing we're proud. Start now, demand respect, live for yourself, and find freedom in being enough.